Welcome to Inside the Artist Studio. Tonight, Wednesday night, I have with us Jared Brady and Kim Lordier and Lori Kersey. So all painters, and everyone is 21 years old. Really fun. It's really fun. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. So that's not true. I don't even think Jared's 21 years old. Are you 21 years old?
Not anymore. I'm 23 now.
God, you're 23. Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
I keep every time I walk people through the show and I point out your work, I'm like, and this is Jared Brady, he's 12.
Yeah.
And people look at me like, whoa. I'm like, not really. Not really. When you're less than half my age, you're 12. Okay, Jim McClellan, welcome. Hey, I'm gonna have you turn off your video.
Hi, Jimmy.
Good. Okay, good. So, look like Ellen Howard's popping in. Okay, so Ellen's on our call too. Wow, we've got the California contingent on the call this night, don't we? Way to go, ladies. Okay, so we drew straws. No, we didn't. This is not a democracy. I picked Kim to go first.
Oh,
no. So, okay, so Kim and I have known each other for quite some time now, and I am a big fan of Kim. I'm a big fan of Kim's work, and I'm really happy to have her in the show. So I'm putting you on the spotlight, Kim. Woo woo. And Kim is a pastel artist, and there aren't a lot of pastel artists out there. I think my 2 cents is because it's a little bit cumbersome to take out on location or to travel with, and because each color is a stick, right?
correct.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to correct you as well. We have a very large contingent of pastelists out there in our world, and we get out there and paint from life quite often.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, I must not like them or something, because I really only know you and Skip Wickham. No, I know more. I'm kidding. But you know what? You don't actually, it's kind of funny because, I meet a lot of pastelists who do other things as well. They're watercolor, mixed media, or they switch back and forth between pastel and oil. And yeah, but you're pretty strictly pastel.
For public consumption.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
In fact, I was painting in oil today.
Oh.
So I do my own, I like to shake it up sometimes when I need a change of scenery, so to speak.
Nice. Okay. Well, I approve. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. So Kim and I, in the spring, we were talking about, having you in the show and talking about the work. And so this is a little insight into the show. I always tell landscape artists who talk to me about the show, you are going to have the toughest time getting into the Coors show. There are so many tremendous landscape painters, but also for whatever reason, landscape, it's not always the biggest hit in the Coors show for some reason. It kind of goes by the year. And so you and I were talking about that because primarily I've seen your landscapes every so often. Yeah, landscape with horses, maybe cows once in a while, but rarely, right?
That's right. I had done, when I was a kid, I painted a lot of animals, a lot of horses and dogs, and did animal portraits 100 years ago. But I really didn't start painting from life until about 2000, the year 2000. And that's when I just really migrated into the plein air scene and painted, the Western landscape, all the Western states. I love our landscape. And I kind of let the horses slide because I was just really trying to learn how to paint.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah,
so tell me about this too, because you mentioned plein air, and then I'm going to do a screen share with your work that's in the show. But I kind of want you to talk about this too, because I remember when, boy, was it end of last year. It was during COVID. Like, I mean, we're still in COVID, but I think you were kind of having a kind of a tough time because a lot of stuff shut down, and plein air painters do kind of tend to go out in groups together, and there's a culture around it, right?
yes, yeah, absolutely. And we were able to paint, but you, of course, would be separate. But then some people weren't comfortable going out, um, and I don't know. It just seemed like there was for me in the Bay Area. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's pretty congested here, and there was a lot of restrictions here in California for us.
Mm.
So I found myself in the studio an awful lot more than normal during COVID.
Yeah. And I think people assume that, this is just this insular thing. Like you're just in your studio and you create, and you get up first thing in the morning and you take your coffee and then you switch to martinis, but you're just in your studio, right? Right. And I think maybe a lot of people don't realize that it is in a lot of ways kind of a team sport.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
yeah, you
Yeah,
kind of bounce
well, that's what
ideas.
you go out there with your buddies, and
Mhm.
you paint, and then you have a beer afterwards, and then you go home, or you're out for a few days camping or whatever, and then you get to bring all that material home, and that's a great way to inspire new work for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think too, like you guys are all, when you get together, you're all really pretty honest with each other. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Right, Lori?
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna hear from Lori soon. But Lori and Kim are friends, in case you couldn't figure that one out. And yeah, they bounce ideas off each other too. So anyway, so I'm doing a screen share here, Kim, with your work. And this particular painting, Snow Ponies, I think this one kicked it off, right? I mean, we started talking about this when
Yeah,
we were talking.
you and I were working together, and somehow we were on Zoom, and I did a screen share, and I was flipping through my images, and you go, oh, wait, Kim,
Uh-huh.
I like that. And the next thing I know, you sent me the application to be in the core show, and I was flabbergasted and thankful and grateful and all that. Um, but I started painting the horses in the landscape quite a bit this last, during COVID, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a marriage for me of my past and my present and where I want to go in the future with my work. And so I was really unsure about this particular piece, but when you made note of it, I was pretty excited that something that's a little bit more, I guess, less traditional captured your eye, and to me it validated a little bit, um, you know, the way I was thinking, and going the road I was going down with incorporating the horses into my artistic journey here.
Well,
Um,
what I think what really caught me about this painting, and there's something about it, there's something about those paintings that artists do for themselves that they have a little different quality to them. Sometimes they're kind of quirky. Sometimes they're, I don't really know how to explain it, but you know it when you see it. And in fact, I was looking at someone's collection of historic works, and he had two paintings by Charles Partridge Adams, who in Colorado is a really well noted, well collected historic artist, and died in I think in the 1940s or 50s. Don't quote me. But of the two paintings, I said that one he painted for himself. And he was like, well, how do you know? And we were with a bunch of other curators, and we were all like, yeah, that one he painted. He did not paint that for a gallery or for a show or for a client. He painted it for himself. And there's just another quality about it. I mean, I think if I had to really think about it, I could put some better words around it. But this one has that quality to me. And I got really excited about it and about having it and presenting it to my audience. And so what inspired this painting, Kim?
Well, I think it started off with the idea, I just, I want to plunk some horses down in the landscape. But what was happening for me at the time, during COVID, we were, I think, globally, people were, dreaming a lot more, and I had more of I was able to remember my dreams, and I kind of felt this piece before I even started it. And in hindsight, when I look at it and I look at the three pieces that I've put into the show, I find that there's a thread through my life. Horses have always been a part of my life. And that started really early on when I was a little kid. And I feel that this particular painting has a little bit more of a spiritual quality to it for me. It reminds me of my relationship with my grandfather, who has since passed, but he raised and trained running quarter horses in the Pacific Northwest, and then later on in life went into training cutting horses, and he gave me my first horse. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for like when I was 8 or 9 years of age. And I feel like there's this transition from my past that's, I'm no longer a spring chicken anymore. And so I'm starting to feel my own sense of aging. And I think this speaks to my relationship with my grandfather, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I pulled up winter intervals,
Winter
arrivals, sorry. Winter arrivals. And this, you were also telling me, you went to where the Mustangs, they were rounding up Mustangs?
My sister-in-law, Kathy, who's also an artist as well and an absolute horse lover. We're very, anyway, she went with me to drop off some work at a loom gallery in St. George, Utah. And on our way home, we took a couple days to go find the Mustang, the HMA, I'm totally drawing a blank, on the herd management. And we drove for hours and had the most incredible time and found these big bands of Mustangs. For some people they're feral. For those of us who are horse lovers, we're really excited. I also know that there's a huge political divide with with ranchers and all that. So there's a lot to talk about with that.
Yeah. And I think that's such a nice thing. I think with a show like the Core Show, because, we can have beautiful paintings that actually, and sculpture and photographs that actually ask questions, and talk about stuff like this that really is, they're important issues. And, and I know when they were rounding up the Mustangs, and it was just so awful to hear about it. And it's like, why? But then a ranch woman that I know said there's nothing worse than watching a horse starve to death.
Absolutely. And
So
they're and no water, and then they're on the, then when they're rounded up, they're held in these holding pens for years and years, and you hope that they're adopted, but there's thousands of them in these pens, which isn't any better.
right.
So it's kind of a vicious cycle. I would like to think that there's a way to fertilize, and again, I'm nervous talking with you, but some way to do it a little bit more humanely.
Yeah. So talk about this one. This is just another gorgeous painting, Memory of a Painted Horse. And something I want to point out as we're looking at Kim's work is this beautiful luminous quality that you're getting in the work, and with the pastels. And they're just gorgeous. There's just, even hanging them in person, there's such a lightness to the work. I feel like you really enjoyed or got into this beautiful space when you were creating these pieces.
Thank you very, very much for that. I really appreciate it. For me, that typical artist speak, it's about the light, but the light gives us what we can, beauty, and juxtapose against the dark, and you can create many different moods with that. This piece happens to be a little bit more actually personal as well, where I showed, I was a competitive horseback rider, and for many years I was showing in the paint horse circuit in the nation, and so it's just kind of an honor and a nod to my friends and horses that have traveled through my life.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And the background's actually local to you guys. It's Chatfield State Park or
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It feels local.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, nice. Oh my goodness. Hey, you know what? This is why we invite artists to stay in our house for the week, because cool stuff like this happens. Okay. Hey, you know what? I'm going to zip through these little ones, and then I'm going to bounce over to Jared, but you have these 3 little gems, the Getaway. And where were these from?
So I like to go to our local, cutting horse, the NA, National Cutting Horse Association, or reining shows that we have in Sacramento, and I'll just go there with my sketchbook and hang out, and know a couple of trainers and friends that attend, so get to hang out with the horses in the stalls and in the barns, and so I, if I had as much money, I'd probably be in the cutting arena in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I know. If I had as much money, I would be buying all the art in the Coors show. So how about that?
Oh, I would do that too.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Kim, go nowhere.
Okay.
We're going to put the spotlight on Jared Brady. So Jared, welcome.
Thank you. This is awesome.
I love you got your little Christmas tree. You got your tree.
I know. I got my little planes of the head with a Santa hat.
That is awesome. So Jared's been in the show. Is this your second year?
Second year. Yeah.
Second year. Yes. Yeah. And COVID, was virtual. So but I think everybody just snatched up your work.
I know, that was awesome. It was really exciting. Yeah, it was strange just having everything online, but you guys did a really great job with, connecting to the collectors and keeping things running. So
somehow it was like, I don't know how that happened, but it worked. And you really just hit a high note with our collectors. And, you know, I think that's something like the Coors show that I love introducing brand new artists to the scene. And you're one of those that I'm really happy to have our audience get to know a little bit better. So speaking of which, yeah, why don't you tell people a little bit more about you and how'd you get into painting? I'm kind of guessing your parents are pretty darn supportive.
Oh yeah, they're the best. They're so supportive, and I think I got into painting. I did, you know, here and there some small gifts and crafts when I was younger, but I started taking it more seriously when I was about 16 and started taking some oil lessons. And my teacher also introduced us to different mediums and subjects just to really make sure we had a wide grasp of things and really could follow where our heart pulled us. So that's how I got introduced to oils and just fell in love with them. And yeah.
Wow. You know, okay, I'm going to do a screen share. And speaking of oils, let me share the screen. And I've pulled up the painting Autumn Glow to start right off the bat.
Yeah.
This painting, I have to tell you, just even when we unwrapped it and had it leaning against the wall, it literally glows.
Yeah.
It didn't even have light hitting it.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one, getting that glow. It can be really elusive to get, but when it starts coming together, it just sings. So that one was so much fun to do.
Yeah. And so did this come from a plein air?
Well, this is kind of like a culmination of a lot of different studies and experiences. This was, I believe, in Granby, Colorado. I had gotten some different references and done a lot of plein air painting. We stayed at a nice place there. That's normally for like a ski lodge in the fall. And I would just go out every day and paint in this beautiful aspen grove and explore it, and just took all these trails and found this one spot and got up really early one morning. It was dark out, I was freezing, but just stayed up with the sunrise and did some studies and just found this like perfect moment where it just came together like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And this painting, so when it's up on the wall, you know, it's just this beautiful glowing and shimmering, you know, with the golden colors. But then like this part right where we are here, I love the depth of this passage in here and how it just makes everything pop. This painting really has a magic quality about it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. So let me go this way. Okay, and here's another one so these landscapes, and this one too, this does the same thing. Okay, this one feels like Christmas.
Perfect. Yeah.
So winter's brilliance. Yeah, I mean, there's just a real fresh, you know, joy.
Yeah.
To this work. So what inspired this? Was this one another one out on location or?
Well, I did a lot of studies. This one was in the studio, but I've painted scenes like this a lot, and I've just always been drawn to that glow that you get, especially when it's backlit, and the luminance you get in the snow, and just trying to capture that feeling like you can almost feel the cold, but then that warm sun, and just, you know, getting that moment that a lot of people I think can relate to, especially here in Colorado, just going on early morning walks or just admiring the landscape.
Oh, exactly. No, it's just really gorgeous. And this one as well. And so this is a little one in the valley, but it's such a sweet little gem. Was this out on location, I'm guessing?
This one wasn't, but I've done one, quite a few. Just like this. So I've really been interested in exploring the snow when it's falling from the trees and it's glimmering in the sunlight, trying to get that feeling. And those have been a lot to explore, a lot of fun to explore.
Yeah. Oh, that's really, yeah. Well, you capture it. It's wonderful. And so this is another one, this 14 by 11 summer's warmth. And just, you know, kind of getting those roots like dipping into the water and, you know, and these fresh brush strokes. So, you know, I think this is kind of an interesting thing with both Lori and Kim as well. And
Hmm.
something in particular with Kim, like you can really see those brush strokes or the pastel strokes, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I love, planning out a nice stroke and
yeah,
just loading it up with a lot of paint and leaving it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So are you also, so we have all landscapes. Are
Yeah.
you, are you also doing other figurative and things like that?
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I've been doing portraits, still lives, trying to, just work in as many areas as I can to just keep finding my voice and figuring out what works together, what doesn't, and just
nice.
having a lot of fun exploring different things. So, yeah.
So when you started, so catch us up. So when you started,
Hmm.
so you started in the, so we have this Young Guns event and show where we introduce young collectors.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's actually tomorrow night, our Young Guns event.
Hmm.
But Jared started in that. They have a little pop-up
Yeah.
show there. And I loved what you were doing and
Hmm.
pulled you into our club show. And obviously our audience really loves the work too. And I think they're going to enjoy this. But so since then, I mean, I think you were just sort of fresh out of school and still working on
Hmm.
stuff. And so where are you now? What's been going on lately since then?
I'm in a really awesome position. I've had tons of opportunities open up recently, so I'm full-time art. I've done a group show earlier this year.
Oh, where
A
was
lot of
that?
different at the Broadmoor Gallery with Robin Cole and Melissa Cooper. She's a sculptor, so that went really
Nice.
well. That was kind of my first big event, producing a lot of work for something, and then done a couple other smaller shows and some Oil Painters of America shows. Gotten into a couple of those, so it's been a good year.
Wow, wonderful. Good, good. And so do you go out and, we were kind of talking about this earlier, but do you have a
Hmm.
group that you paint with? You're on the Western Slope, right?
We're in Woodland Park,
Yeah.
so yeah. Mhm.
So,
So I have a small local group going, and we try and get together once or twice a month if possible. And then I also have a really nice online group of some artists kind of closer to my age that we met at different workshops. And
wow.
we stay in touch online and help critique each other. And we've done a couple trips, so that's been really great too.
Wow. I think that's such an interesting thing that's happened with COVID is
Hmm.
this, Zoom for one,
Yeah.
everybody now Zooms, but that you can do these critiques. Like,
Hmm.
I think it's, I don't know, maybe this is, I mean, I'm guessing that it's always better to be in front of the work,
Oh yeah.
but
Mhm.
you can probably still get a lot out of doing a Zoom, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's like you said, in person, everything is, the color and everything can look a little different, but it's been, good just for our sanity, just
Yeah,
getting together with artists and being able to rant or just paint together. And yeah, it's
right,
been
right.
awesome.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That's really good. Okay, stay where you are,
Okay.
please. Go nowhere. I'm headed over to Kim Lordier's mom, who's gonna tell, I'm kidding. Kim's mom promised to tell all. So maybe we'll do that next time. No, I'm heading over to Lori Kersey. Hi, Lori.
Hi there.
So another Northern California artist. So Lori has a long, wonderful background in art. Was
That's
also,
because I'm much older than Jared.
yes, you're 5 years older than Jared is what we decided, maybe 6. Um, but you worked in also illustration was part of your background. Yes.
Yeah, I started in the commercial art world so long ago. It was pre-computer.
Right.
So everything was hand, paste up and marker comps and illustration and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of checked out when computers came along. It just kind of wasn't my thing. And I was having way more fun making paintings on the side. So
Right.
I made a redirection at that point.
Perfect. And you know what? I think it's so funny when you see Lori's paintings, and maybe we'll zoom in on this, but people always ask, like, is your signature a stamp, right? Like that's from your illustration days, right?
That signature goes way back, yeah, to the very
Yeah.
beginning when the whole illustration was that tight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the paintings have loosened quite a bit, but the signature stayed the same.
Nice. So, okay, I'm going to tell a little story. Lori's submitted work for the Cours Show, and we get hundreds of artists who submit work for the Cours Show. And I didn't take her work. And then your work, you popped up on my screen somehow, and we started talking. And I was looking at your work and I was like, God, you'd be really good in the Cours Show. And you started laughing and you're like, yeah, that's what I thought. And you didn't say it. But I think but then we talked more about it, and you had put in images that were kind of, and this is something I talk to all the artists about, is don't try to psych out my audience. You got to put in work that comes from the heart and the work that really means something to you. Forget the audience. And I think that was kind of what happened, because then we were going through these paintings, and I'm going to pull up some now, that I was like, wow, these are just.
I guess I didn't send you that one.
You didn't send me this one. Yeah, no, it was just really kind of funny. And so I think that's sort of a thing that, and I'm outing myself on this one too, that, when I'm looking through so many images and trying to make these decisions and trying to put together a show that has something for everyone and that doesn't repeat itself, that, yeah, until I can take that time, if I'm afforded it, to really talk to an artist has this skill level that you have, and this talent and this vision that you have, and to go beyond the 5 or 6 images that you posted online, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so that really made all the difference. And so, yeah, I love it when I say to an artist, you'd be good in the Cours Show. And they're like, yeah, you rejected me. That's a good feeling right there. But the other thing I want to ask you about, and then I'm going to do a screen share, is you spend a number of years teaching, right?
I did. I taught at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, where I had gone previously. And it was great. I really enjoyed my 5 or 6 years there teaching. And it was a great school. It's all moved now. They're all in different buildings, and it's unfamiliar to me now, but it was great at the time.
Did that inform your painting in a way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, teaching is almost more of a learning experience than being the student, because you really have to get things worked out in your head in order to be able to explain it to somebody else.
Right.
When you're the student, you can kind of, I think I know what I'm doing, so I'll just do this. But, to be the teacher, you have to have it solid in your head.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, I wonder, I'm tossing this out at you. I wonder if having to verbalize what your hand just does, but having to put words to it does something as well.
Oh, totally. And, sometimes a student would ask me, oh, how do you do this or that? And I have to kind of stop and go, how do I do that? I don't know. Wait a minute. And I have to go back and sort of try and figure out, how do I do that? So I don't know how it goes from eyes to brain or from eyes to hands, but it kind of skips the brain sometimes.
Right.
And I have to go back and bring the brain into the loop and figure out how that works.
Wow. Yeah. I just always think that's fascinating to be able to verbalize what
it's definitely a different aspect to the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm pulling up your images here on the Cours Show site. And I think this is the first one we together said, yeah, this is a definite for the Cours Show. And this is Against the Wind. And first of all, just a lovely painting. And Lori is a horsewoman, kind of similar to Kim. You grew up in a family with horses, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my father raced harness horses back in the day.
Mm-hmm. So you're just, I mean, and I think there's something, I think this, Kim, is too something that when you see somebody's work and they want to paint horses because the Cours show, everybody loves horses and it's Western. But I've actually talked to people, I'm like, have you ever ridden a horse? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, it looks like it. Like, how can you tell? I'm like, it just looks like it. You like, don't like, yeah, you can copy a photo, but you don't understand the mechanics. Or, in this particular painting was one, where you also have to understand the spirit of the animal.
Yeah, I think it's really important for me, anyways, to understand the inside of the horse. I mean, the outside's beautiful, but I think it's important to understand the nature of a horse and the way that they, or even the little things like gesture, the way that they stand or hold their head, or the way that they interact with one another. I've ridden for many years, and I brushed a million horses, so I could probably sculpt one. I'm not a sculptor, but you know how the forms go together, and you run your hands over a horse enough times, how they fit together.
Yeah.
And if you interact with them enough, how they interact with each other. And this was actually out in Colorado, come to think of it. Really flat land. It was cold and windy and gray, and these guys were loose on a large ranch. And I just loved the way that the herd, the herd dynamics, the way that the horses interacted with each other. And these two were kind of inseparable. As when I got home from my trip and I went through my photos, these two grays were just always together. And I thought they were, I don't know, just such a nice bond with those two.
Yeah.
And I liked them just together, facing the wind and standing there in the wind and weather.
Yeah. And so, this painting is juggling a number of things. One, the subject matter, which, a lot of people attempt. And some people do great with it, but other people, it's just not there. It doesn't come alive for them. So there's that aspect of it. There's the, putting the two grays together in a painting, and this design element. And it's sort of like, it's almost like you have to use both sides of your brain with this, right? You've got to use the logical side and pull all your tools as an artist.
Right.
But then you've got to bring in the emotional side to it as well.
Right. Tough to juggle those two sometimes.
Yeah. No, truly, I would really think it would be. So Tres Amigos as well. And this is another one of those. I mean, you have this sort of funny motion thing that's happening with the horses, but they do this. They just sort of lean on each other and wipe their faces on each other.
Yeah, I liked the little nuzzling.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the middle of another painting with, I think it's that same dark horse who's kind of messing with somebody else.
Yeah.
I love the interactions.
Yeah. They're just so sweet. They're really, and you just do capture it. And I think that's a thing with the Cours show is, boy, we have horse people. Like that's a big part of who comes to our exhibit is, people who have horses and love horses. And so, yeah, you gotta know what you're doing if you're going to really attempt that subject matter. Okay, I want to back up because we have all these fabulous drawings of yours, but I want to just hit on this backlit buckskin, which is it's a sweet little 12 by 12. And it's such a familiar scene. And I remember when we talked about this, because if you have horses and you've shown horses, you've trailered a horse and you've had to run, get, your whatever before you go into the ring, or, and here's the horse just hanging out. Oh God, what next? And so you pick this scene that is so familiar. If you have horses and if you're in the West, and it's so, I think this is something that people maybe just look past all the time. It's just, yeah.
There we have an annual ranch horse competition
Mhm.
just locally, and I go there usually and prowl around and take photos and sketch or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I find myself often drawn more to the behind the scenes stuff
Mhm.
than what's going on in the arena.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I'll be prowling around back by the trailers and just a quiet moment, with this horse hanging out, waiting, is something that appeals to me more than the action
Yeah.
in the arena, I guess.
Yeah. But as an artist to know, it's all okay. So you're like Degas would do the behind the scenes with the dancers, right? That was
Right,
more
right.
interesting to him than the performance. But it's the human side of it, right?
Or the equine side.
Yeah, or the equine side, right? So okay, so I want to pull up all these drawings. So we have, what do we have? 9 drawings, 10 drawings?
I think you had 10 or 11.
Yeah. Okay. So you were showing me these drawings and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to have those. So at the course show, we have a silent auction of like drawings are perfect for the silent auction or smaller works. And usually it's 3. And so, okay, what happened right here, why it went from 3 to 10 is because I couldn't make up my mind.
Yeah. You just kept going, and that one, and that one, and that one.
That one. And then I think I did this thing where I said, you know what, I'll make a decision tonight and I'll let you know tomorrow. And tomorrow has not come yet. So I think that's what happened. So I got them all. And I will post on Facebook later on, probably tomorrow. I'm going to take some more pictures because everything's hung and the gallery's open. If you can get by between 9 and 4 tomorrow, you can come see the whole show. But I love how we hung these drawings because they're just gems. They're so sweet. And yeah, they all just pop. But tell us about some of these, like the dogs. Are these your dogs?
No.
What?
One of them, the Bernese, is a friend's dog.
Oh,
And actually the Labrador is a friend's dog.
sweet.
And the other one is just a dog that I saw here locally.
Oh
Grab
my,
a shot of him.
oh my God. That's okay. And that's such a Bernese thing. That just
Yeah.
like flopping down there like, oh God, either treats or don't
Well,
disturb me.
yeah, I think they're either on high or on off.
Right.
There's not really a middle.
Yeah, right. Well, it's all that hair that they're dragging around, right? And then the horses. And I love how you go between, so like Steadfast and maybe tell us a little bit about, are you working with just different leaded pencils or is there charcoal in here too? Or
Most of the ones that you have are charcoal. They're
Mhm.
soft vine charcoal.
Mhm.
And then you have a few pencil. That one's charcoal too. And I just play with different things just for fun. Sometimes, yeah, that was a pencil one.
Wow.
Sometimes toned paper, sometimes white.
Mhm.
Just kind of playing.
Yeah. Well, and I love as I'm clicking through these and hanging them was so much fun to hang the pencil with the charcoal because of the depth of, the color, but also it's all, you almost kind of create a mood with the charcoal versus the pencil, right?
Yeah, they're different. different moods, like you say. I usually when I see, I'm flipping through my reference photos, because these are not from life, these are from photos, and it'll just jump out at me. Oh, that one needs to be charcoal, or that one
Oh,
needs to be pencil. They'll generally tell me what they want to be.
wow. Wow. Um, so I think this was really an interesting story about you, and I'm going to start it off and have you tell us about it. But when you were a kid, you would draw for people, your friends, and they would ask you to draw stuff, right?
In crayon.
In crayon, right? Like, yeah, you were a little kid, and they would have you
Yeah.
draw stuff.
My
And-
mother was always an amateur artist throughout her life, and
Mhm.
so yeah, it was kind of an artsy household. And I started off with crayons like everybody else, and
Oh.
I just kind of never stopped.
But
But
then,
I guess I showed some kind of promise from a fairly early age.
Mhm. But then you also had the horses. You were,
Then there was the horse. So the mother was the art thing, and the father was the horse thing.
yeah.
And I rode on the other side of the fence. I rode hunter jumpers.
Ah,
So I'm still riding,
Mhm.
and I'm just not jumping these days. I
yeah,
keep it on the ground,
yeah.
but
But
having a
okay,
blast.
so you had kind of a traumatic experience in your life, and you couldn't ride for a while, and you couldn't paint for a while.
Yeah, I had some health type physical stuff for a while, and I was kind of out of commission. Um, so no riding, and painting was really hard. I was just
Mm,
doing small little bits here and there.
yeah.
Um, but one of the things that I ended up doing was, I wanted to be around horses. So I went over to the barn with my little sketchbook, and I
Mm.
started sketching them, which was really hard. They were dreadful drawings, because the horses just absolutely don't hold still.
Mhm.
And but I just kept going. I liked being there, and
Yeah.
playing with petting horses and stuff, and so I just kept doing it. And thank God the drawings got better.
Yeah.
And I just kept doing it, and they eventually got better. And so these days, I still go over to, when I say the barn, I mean the stables that's 5 minutes from my house.
Mm.
And I go over there. It's a big stables. They got 80, 100 horses at any given time.
Wow.
So there's lots to choose from, and I sketch, and I might bring the paint sometimes and do little color studies. Sometimes I set up kind of off to the side somewhere and do kind of like a plein air painting I'll print out a little black and white photo, and then I'll be looking at a real horse for color, and
Yeah.
kind of combine, the actual horse with providing the color, and the photo providing the shape,
Oh,
and put it all together, and
oh,
do
nice.
little sort of plein air paintings. So, various versions of fun I've been having at
Yeah.
the barn, and all of that just kind of set me off, and I started painting them, and I can't stop.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I thought it was really, I just thought it was such an interesting aspect of the story of you, that as a child, these two worlds were separate. The art was separate from the horse. And
Yeah.
because of this physical condition you had for a time, and they came together in a
Yeah,
really
I don't
good
really, it's
way.
weird to think about it from here. I'm not sure why they were separate, because I've ridden for years, and I painted for years, but they
Yeah.
were always totally separate things.
Yeah.
The riding was my playtime,
Mm,
and painting was, I guess, my business. But
mhm.
yeah, so relatively recently they've collided and converged, and now
Wow.
they're entirely tangled up.
Well, as it should be. I think it's as it should have been all along, but here you go. Right?
Probably.
Well, it's fun to see all these beautiful paintings in your studio too. So it's great to just get a glimpse into everybody's studio. Hey, so we're approaching the top of the hour. Everybody who's listening in, if you have any questions or comments for our artists, please put them in the chat. And hey, Jared and Kim, go ahead and take the mute off. And this is the point in our conversation where I love to ask you if you have questions or comments for each other. And I know Kim and Lori know each other, so jump right in.
Well, I just want to say, Jared, your work is beautiful. I hadn't been exposed to it
Oh,
until
thank you.
seeing it online, and congratulations on a beautiful body of work.
Oh, thank you. You too. Both of your
And
bodies
I'll
and
have to
works are
second that
amazing.
too, Jared. I love
thank you.
the forest stuff.
Yeah, I just love how in all your work, it really shows through your connection to the subject, and you feel that connection with the horses. I think it's really special.
Kind of an authenticity about it.
Yeah.
Well, it is that, the saying, paint what you love thing, what everybody says, but you're right, Jared, it shows.
Yeah.
And I guess we should.
Yeah. Yeah, because life's too short to paint stuff you don't want to paint.
Yeah.
That's why you're not illustrators, right? Hey, Ellen Howard's so sweet. She says, great job and beautiful work from all of you. I agree, Ellen. And I hey, hop on a plane, Ellen, and come to the opening, because the show is gorgeous. I cannot wait for you all to see it.
And I can't wait.
You know what, I keep telling people that I think this stretch of time with COVID, when I think it was a panic in the beginning, when your galleries are like, hey, we got to shut her down, right? And then so kind of a scramble. But what I'm seeing is this show has such a beauty and harmony to it. It's one of the most calm, enjoyable shows I've ever put together. It just really has this lovely essence about it. And you just have to experience it. You know, if you've ever gone to, if you've ever sat amid the Monet's water lilies and been surrounded by them, right, in the round, you get a very beautiful sense from the show when you stand in the middle of it and you're just surrounded by this, there's almost like you all had this real, just like a, chance to breathe. Yeah.
We could all use a deep breath and a sigh these days, right?
Exactly.
I think COVID really did provide that for us, when everything was shut down, and, you really got to tap back into, at least for me, I got to tap back into what I was doing, even in the midst of having a kind of a, I don't know, a problem with what was going on. But it really ultimately ended up being, I'm just going to paint what I love, and start moving in that direction,
Yeah.
In some ways it was a little pause button, which is kind of, so you're running on your little hamster wheel, and then all of a sudden it all kind of paused, and maybe we all do just sort of take a breath and sort of evaluate where we are and what we're doing, and maybe it shows.
I think that, I think that pause button for artists has just been so refreshing, in a way, because there is a sense that you got to play, and maybe even that sort of, it almost kind of sounds a little cliche, but life is short. We've all lost people from COVID, right? We've all lost friends and known people, and even probably family members, and life is just so short. And there is this beautiful sense about the show this year. I can't wait for you to see it. Hey, Judy Brady said, Mom, you are all so inspiring and authentic. Thanks for sharing your incredible gifts with others. We all needed a reminder of what is beautiful and good. I agree. Absolutely. Neil Sherman, beautiful and inspiring work, everyone. So one of your fellow artists in the show. Thank you, Neil. Scott Ruthven, lovely work. I'm excited to visit and see the entire show in person. One of my favorite shows. Yay. Yeah. I say it every year. This is my favorite show. I'm just fine. It's my favorite show. It's a beautiful show. It's a beautiful year. So, yeah. So, you guys, if you have anything else, and jump in and anything. Okay. So, Andrea Cosmo says a great combination of artists for one talk. I agree. Please join us for more. On the website is the listing of the talks, and you can sign up. Obviously, they're free. Just come on board. The recordings will be posted on our website. Trying to get those going. So those will be up and running. So also, please, if you're in town, come by and see the show. It'll be up tomorrow, 9 to 4. And then we've got a Young Guns event for our young collectors. And then the show comes down on Friday. We button it up through the holidays. And then we put it back up on Monday, January 3rd. And the gala night is the 4th. So I'm letting everybody know, please come see it. Check the website for Vax card masks and all that kind of stuff. Right now in Denver, there is a mask mandate through Monday, January 3rd. So what we're doing is, if you're going to come to preview, we're just going to have people show their Vax cards and bring a mask. But hopefully, if everybody's vaccinated, we can all feel a lot safer. Tuesday, the mask mandate will be lifted. So I will be wearing a mask because I just do not trust people. So there you go. So we're just going to leave it up to people, but very seriously, my goal is to keep you all safe. So I want you just to be aware that the mask mandate will be lifted for Tuesday. So artists who are coming in and anyone who's compromised, consider coming on Monday. And really just, think about how to protect yourself, because we all have to be really careful. So we are right up against the hour. Do you all have anything else? Are there any other comments? And
I just want to say I'm thrilled to be part of this, and I'm really excited. Looking forward to. I've never actually been there and seen it in person, so I'm super excited. And, I'm going to have to find some winter clothes to go to Denver in January.
Yes, because January in Denver is not a walk in the park. So
it's not California, I know.
No, you're
right. I skate on the street sometimes. I want to say thank you so much, Rose, for all of your hard work behind the scenes. And I wish everybody, all the artists out there, the greatest, the best for everything. And it's an honor to be hanging on those walls again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Rose. Honored to be in the show. And it's great to meet you, Kim and Lori. It's awesome.
You too.
Yeah, thanks so much for all this.
All right, you all have a very happy holiday season.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys. We have another talk tomorrow at noon, so join us. If I were better prepared, I would tell you who's on that call, but it's going to be a surprise for all of us. Sarah Beth, you are most welcome. Thank you for joining in. And Andrea, really super excited for you to see the show as well. So looking forward to seeing you all in Denver, and be safe. Take care. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.